One.
Hey everyone, welcome to our new show. The show that is so good that we can't even give it a name because it'll be no words are worthy of being associated with such a great show. We will find a name for it at some point, but it doesn't have one yet. On today's show, later on today's show, we're going to be discussing. Should you use serial killers in advertisements? And we'll also discuss a recent report that came out in the UK encouraging people or encouraging the government to encourage people to take the train rather than fly when the distance is deemed by this organization as short enough for a train ride. But before we get to our main topic, so we have with us Mark Pellegrino, Hollywood celebrity, and someone who has so far appeared on 100% of the episodes of this show so far. We have Marco and Richard, who you will know if you are an attendee of the London Ayn Rand meetup, or if you are a participant in the study groups, the book clubs of ARCUK, the members only study groups and book clubs, which if you're not, you can, I think there is a link in the live chat. You can sign up for that. We have Thomas Bisson, a friend of the channel, and also an attendee of the London Ayn Rand meetup, personal trainer. You can find out more about him at bodybybisson.com. And we have John Wass with us for the second time on this channel, the second time ever, but also within a few months. So hopefully, we will see more and more of you on the channel in the future. John Wass is an artist. You can find out more about him at wassart.com, or at you can find his work in the Cordair Art Gallery at cordair.com. All right, so our first topic is Just Stop Oil. Now, I made the mistake of watching some videos. I watch them, from time to time, but I made the mistake of watching them before the show. So I'm, pre-triggered on this topic. The one thing I like, we've had conversations on this channel with Mark and Nikos and Jonathan, and people have different views about MMA. Now I'm, on the side of Jonathan Hoenig, where I don't like it. I used to watch it. I don't like it. I think it's, putting two people in a cage and having them beat the crap out of each other until one of them can't get up. But the one type of video that recently I enjoy watching that does involve supposedly violence is people standing up to the non-violence of Just Stop Oil and removing them from the street so that they can get on with their lives. Because Just Stop Oil is an organization that basically their actual purpose is to disrupt people's lives. They're kind of jihadists without the balls to blow themselves up. All right, before I keep saying things that will get us canceled, Mark, you basically you heard at the end of yesterday's show that this is what we're doing, and you said I have to be on this show. So I'll
Okay,
go.
I have a personal relationship with these douchebags. It started with Alex Epstein tuning me into them and saying they were a terrorist group. I said, okay, I got to find out for myself if this is true. So I started following them on social media. And sure enough, they're a bunch of boneheads that like to vandalize property and keep people from getting where they need to go. And generally, as you say, disrupting things. So I started trolling them on social media, highlighting what they're doing and then countering them with rational, I think, discourse at first. And then these jerk-offs started DMing me. Whoever takes care of their social media accounts started DMing me, trying to do victory laps around various Hollywood idiots who happen to fund these fools. And so we would have pretty great clashes on DM. I think they are a bunch of idiots. I don't think their protests are peaceful. I think when you disrupt somebody's life, it is an initiation of the use of force. And if the police aren't going to do anything about it, you can and should forcibly remove these people. I will. If I'm in the UK and they're keeping me from getting where I'm going, I am going to choke out every single one of the people in that line and remove their unconscious bodies to the side of the road where they belong. And I challenge them when I am in the UK. Anytime I'm there, come out, try to put some of your orange paint on me, see what happens. You ain't going to get through the experience. It ain't going to be fun for you. Yeah, they're terrorists, man. They initiate force. It's not peaceful protest. I could blame the 60s for this. People think that now running through the streets and stopping people from doing what they want and breaking windows and vandalizing shit and even hurting other people is somehow a legitimate form of protest. It's not. These people have to be stopped. I say just stop oil.
Yeah, and by the way, with this show, we're expanding our content offering. And Mark, when you are in the UK and you meet these guys, let me know. I'll be there with my phone. We
Hey,
will
can you
we
do
will
me a
put that on
favor
the
and
channel.
can you tag them in this? Can you tag them in some way? Because I want them to see this. And I want
Yeah,
that douchebag who DMs me. I want to meet him personally somewhere. I'll pick the gym. I'll meet him on the mat.
we'll tweet it. John.
Yeah, thank you. I hadn't really looked into this issue too much until you sent me the article because it was going to be in the discussion. And I saw it briefly on the news. I think that this was going on, but I didn't look into it too much. Obviously, I don't think that these protesters have any right to block traffic or disrupt people's everyday life. And they're, like Mark said, they're irrational and don't make any sense. One of them is quoted from the article as saying they want to ring the fire alarm on the climate emergency. I guess this is more of a paraphrase, sorry, because oil and gas are burning down our homes. But yet then another one shortly after says the climate collapse is here now, and you just have to look at the front page every day to see the disasters. So I'm just wondering if it's on the front page of all the news, why do you guys feel the need to sound the alarm still? It sounds like a bullshit excuse to pay it forward, I like to say. Instead of paying forward something good, they're trying to pay forward the fear because that's the only language they know. They operate on the catastrophizing and everything is the worst case scenario emergency. So in the case of this, I don't think that I would hold it against the regular people pushing them off either, especially because it should be the cops' job the police to take care of this kind of thing because it's a non-emergency initiation of force. So it should be the cops there doing it, and you shouldn't have to do that. But I don't feel much sympathy for them getting pushed around.
Although recently, I got to tell you, it was an emergency. Wasn't there somebody who had a child in the car or someone who was sick and needed to get to the hospital, and they were begging and pleading with these people to get out of the road, and they would not move out of the road for them to get to the hospital?
I didn't read about that, no, but that thought came to my mind immediately. Is like, what if this is an ambulance or some sort of real emergency that's coming along that they're preventing people from getting the care they need? Then in that case, for sure, you have every right to remove these people from your way.
Yes, although again, you have every right, even if you're on your way, if you're on your way to, I don't know, a business meeting and you missing it will cost you millions of dollars, or you're hungry and you're on your way to a restaurant. It doesn't matter. It's, it is your life. It is time out of your life that they are taking away from you. And on the point of the police, so I didn't see anything where the police are actively doing anything to stop them. I remember with their predecessors, who I guess are still somewhat around, Extinction Rebellion, there were incidents where the police was actually standing around groups of Extinction Rebellion protesters blocking the street because they were protecting them from the public who would do the police's job while the police was doing the exact opposite of what their job is. We have I think London is the home of Just Stop Oil, right? Or it's their main base of operations. And four of the people on this show are from London, although with three of you, I think it's kind of borderline because you're somewhere in the sticks. But Marco and Richard, any thoughts on this?
Well, my first feeling is that I don't want to call these guys protesters, because they're not protesting; they're just vandals and thugs, really. They seem to be composed mainly of older people, probably old hippies that are trying to recapture the failed heydays of the rebellions of '68, and they're having a second crack before they croak, really. What I'm really sorry about is the young kids who they must be living in fear, and that's probably the kind of fear that Ayn Rand mentions when you live as a second-hander or based on the group. You receive your signal of how to behave, how to live from somebody else, so you never really know what's happened. So I'm really sorry for these guys that, in a way, are just a product of our education. They don't really know much about it. So the joke is on them, really.
And you've seen them do all sorts of things in London, from disrupting everything from the Chelsea Flower Show to cricket matches and opera performances and stuff. Even the audacity to delay the Pride March from setting off on its woke parade through London. And it's nice to see people are beginning to push back a little. I noticed one guy was doused in milk the other day while standing there. Nothing's going to cut your protest short like being covered in a shower of rancid milk. And it's noticeable how I think they tend to be funded by sort of the third generation rich friends that remind me of Tui's rich friend. Like I think one of the key supporters of the Climate Emergency Fund is the granddaughter of Jean-Paul Getty. I mean, this is a classic example of Ayn Rand copying her characters from 2023.
So Thomas has these great marketing videos for his personal training, but I have to say, and they're motivating, but something that's even more motivating for me to start working out is the thought that I will be faced with one of these people and have to defend myself. Thomas, any thoughts on how to deal with these people?
Well, these people claim to be in favor and protesting for the betterment of the environment. However, their demonstrations are very anti-life, not pro-environment. If it was pro-environment, why are they not out in the parks planting trees? As an example, would that not be a better act rather than forcing other people and doing anti-life preventatives to other people? That's just my main point of the argument. I have thought very clearly about how I would respond to someone preventing me from being in the situation, and depending on the urgency of what's involved, I would not hesitate to remove them by force. I've even thought, because at one point they started gluing themselves to the motorway, and after thinking through, I would feel no guilt actually running them over, and just I try and do it as sparingly as possible, and slow as possible, as I just roll over them. But I'd feel no guilt about it at all, because who are they to stop me from living?
Yeah, and there are a few videos of people sort of driving, nudging them. They're not driving at full speed, but they are nudging them away. And some of these videos are on Just Stop Oil's own platforms or accounts on social media, and they present it as somebody running over a non-violent protester. That this is a thing that even the media or some parts of the media, when they report on this, they make a point of using the word non-violent, which is it is pure propaganda, and it's the kind of lie that you just look at what they're doing and you know that what you're being told is not true. And I wonder what such reporters and such media outlets think of their own readers or viewers when they do that. Christopher Smith said in the chat, I bet John Wass is having trouble finding organ paint. No, that I think because if you were in London, that might be an issue. But actually, okay, I'll get to this in a minute. But adherent of Lady Columbia says Mark probably knows what I'm talking about, but there is a book called Beautiful Trouble, and it is a book of all these protesters' 400 plus tactics.
I don't know this book. Should we get it? Is it a manual for what these people do?
It sounds like it, yeah, 400 plus tactics. And by the way, thank you for the super chat, adherent of Lady Columbia.
Well, Saul Alinsky wrote one too called Rules for Radicals. They all follow the same kind of playbook anyway. It's just disruption.
Yeah. Shazbot with a super chat asks, if a driver stuck in protester-induced traffic zip-tied a protester to a lamppost, would the driver be arrested? So actually in a previous comment, Equal to Reality said you should have Matthew on this to get a legal opinion, but I will give my non-professional legal opinion and say, yes, you probably would get arrested if you do that. I would not personally judge you negatively for doing that, but I think the law would. So so a couple of other things on this. So first of all, on Equal to Reality's point, so this Saturday we will, for Platinum Plus members of ARC UK, we will have our second mock trial, and the trial will be the trial of Just Stop Oil, and I will be playing a Just Stop Oil protester because it's time. It is time to revive my acting career. Now that I'm basically on a daily basis on a show with Mark Pellegrino, I think it's this is a good opportunity for me. And so you can the link was there in the description. You can become a member and join that. So I think this was yesterday or the day before. Just Stop Oil had a banquet, a plant-based banquet, and some people interrupted it by putting balloons up near the thing and making the fire alarm go off. This is a counter protest organization called Just Stop Pissing People Off, and they've done that. They've also tried to stop another protest. So it's interesting to see, when they got rid of the balloons, that Just Stop Oil people cheering, because now they can get back to what they were doing previously. It's just, you have to wonder if they don't like that minor interruption to their tofu dinner, then why is it that they are happy for this to be what defines them in life, basically?
I would kind of say on that point as well, though, when it gets to that stage, what's the difference then of just different gangs? Because you've got the Just Stop Oil acting as one gang. Now there's the other people saying just stop oil or whatever. Like it's just gang warfare at that point. And at what point, like I have no issue with defending oneself if they're trying to prevent you, but to actively seek them out and then basically give them a taste of their own medicine, I'm not really.
I think in that example, they are a couple of YouTube pranksters who set up this organization. So they infiltrated the group and joined them for their morning breathing exercises, and then joined the protest, and then swapped shirts for their Just Stop Pissing Everybody Off shirts. So I think the fact that it's receiving some mockery from the young generation is a good sign that people are cutting through a bit and had enough in many ways, or at least you're seeing a turning point, perhaps.
Yeah, I have to say that this organization, Just Stop Oil, is evil, and one of the best ways to combat evil is to laugh at it. And I do like that. I do like that they do that. It's preferable to yanking them off the street and beating them senseless, which is what I feel like doing. I'd rather laugh at them.
Yeah, and I think just stop pissing everybody off is an environment, like they're environmentalists, right? They just think this is counterproductive, and I think this is also, it's a problem with the much of the opposition that you do here to just stop oil is this is not the way to go about your very just and worthy cause. And yeah, this is where we come in and say, no, the cause is not just, it's not worthy, it's evil, and the way you are going about it is evil. Yes, it is. You are hypocrites as well, but that's not the main problem there.
And not just us, but Epstein, who I think is making massive headway in the non-objectivist world, and Schellenberger, who I think is making massive headway. I think they're turning the environmentalists around, and they're becoming a little bit more rational in their approach. The establishment hasn't caught up yet. They're still in the let's kill human beings and do renewables crap. But eventually, I think the Schellenbergers and the Epsteins are going to win.
Yeah, and that's part of the problem, because the establishment is on their side. That's why the press doesn't react negative, and the police, to be honest, they're sympathetic with them. They started here in London to fight back a bit by removing them where they do slow marches and stuff like that. But generally, they are, it's the kneeling police to the BLM kind of stuff. So imagine.
Catherine with a super chat says, just stop oil is not peaceful, useless. And any last thoughts on this topic before we go to the next topic, which is also on environmentalism, but a different approach to it?
I just want to say that I don't endorse violence. I don't endorse it for anybody else, but I just simply expressing a wish and a desire that if I should confront somebody who is initiating force on me, they're going to get a great deal of pushback. They're going to regret every moment that they've stopped me from doing what I need to do. Yeah,
and again, there is a big difference between initiating and defending yourself against violence. So since I think we're all in agreement that it's not nonviolent, it is violent, then yes, you have certainly every moral right, if not every legal right, to defend yourself. Okay, so another environmentalist group, less terroristic in their ways, let's say, the Campaign for Better Transport here in the UK, published a report last week encouraging, like I said in my intro, encouraging the government to encourage people to stop taking the train on short journeys and stop flying short journeys and take the train instead. Now, the reason I even looked into this is because I saw some headline where they make factual claims about journeys and journey times, and this is again something that it reminds me of when the media reports about just stop oil and says they're nonviolent. It's lying, and it's in your face lying. So the one thing that caught my eye was they were talking about how the journey from London to Edinburgh in Scotland is quicker by train than it is by plane. Now, I've taken that journey many times, both by train and by plane. And I can tell you that this is not only not true, it's not even close. And as they mentioned in that report, it's a journey that is often used for business travel. So often people will go back and forth on the same day, which makes the difference even more important. But so I thought, okay, I'll look into this and see how they came to that conclusion. And when they tell you the journey time, so they tell you that from London to Edinburgh, it's 4 hours and 20 minutes. Now, it is 4 hours and 20 minutes. The fastest train from the station, from King's Cross Station in London to Waverley Station in Edinburgh, takes 4 hours and 20 minutes. Now, the flight time is an hour, but they factor in the journey from central London to to the airport, getting there 2 hours before your flight, and then getting from the airport to the city center. Now, of course, that is a part of the journey, right? That should be factored in. But unless you live on the platform at King's Cross Station and your final destination is the platform at Waverley Station, then this is not a valid comparison. And again, the way, just looking at the report, I would think that their supporters would look at it, at least some of their supporters would have enough of a, I don't know, questioning mind that they would say, hang on, this is this is not good. This is not the way to convince people by lying to them and lying to them so blatantly. Now, we added this topic very late, so if any of you have had the time to, I guess you probably didn't have the time to read the whole report, but to look at it, any thoughts you had on it, and I'll
There's not, look, when you're an ideologue like these people are, there's one moral philosophy you follow: the ends justify the means. Facts don't matter. So they can lie because the ends justify the means if the ends to them are saving the planet, which they think they are. And how does a government encourage people to take the train over over planes except by banning flights? And now I've heard, I could be wrong about this, but I've heard they've already started banning flights that are under a certain distance within Europe. Is this true for you guys who live? France has done that. Yeah. Yes. Okay. So that's where I go to Paris quite a bit. So that's where I heard it. They're banning flights already. All right. Yeah. Leave us alone. Time is the one unrenewable resource that we human beings have, and it's finite. It's scarce. We have to choose how we spend it, and the more of it we can have, and the less of it we waste going from one place to another and actually doing the things that we need to do, the better for us and across all aspects of our life. So if I can only spend an hour going to Edinburgh instead of 4, that is better for me. That buys me 3 hours of time that I cannot get back. And that's what a lot of these douchebags they don't care about human life anyway, but they also don't understand how important time is to our lives and how important time-saving devices like airplanes are to our lives.
Oh, but they do, because they use flights. They're not going to have cycle or walk when they go on holiday. So but this report, we had a quick look at it. It's equivalent to, I mean, it's a policy equivalent to rationalizing. Really, you start your premise and then you deduce what you want to deduce at the end of it. So that's why if you look at the tables, the departure time and the time it takes to go from A to B is done from city centers to city centers, knowing perfectly well that airports are usually not in a city center. So you just change the data just to fit your argument, really. So even to be taken seriously. I mean, I used to work in a civil servant. This is a typical civil servant's trick. You just make up the data, you pick the data you need to justify your policy.
We once
go on. Sorry, Rich.
Sorry, I was just going to say we once raced Razi to Edinburgh with Razi going by plane and us going by train. We got there first, but only because there was a rail strike and we had to leave a day early.
I was just going to say, I had a quick look at the same report, and just even on, by the time I got to page 3, the language is so vague and completely subjective. So one of the things they've said is going by train allows people to use their time productively working or resting, and the average rail fare is more than returned in productivity gains. But based on what? And they're suggesting there that it's impossible to work on your productivity on a plane, which makes no logical sense either.
I particularly enjoy point 11, I think. It's just an attempt to realign UK ways of doing things to the EU, really. France did it, therefore we must do it as well.
Yeah, I also took a peek at the recommendations. I think it's the last page of the report. And to say that they're not going to use any coercion or force to get this done is ridiculous. They want the government to invest in more lines and stations and expedite or route and branch reform of fares and ticketing. There's actually 12 bullet point recommendations here. One of them is just the government should introduce a tax on aviation fuel used for domestic flights. The government should reform slot allocation rules and penalize airlines for flying empty aircrafts unnecessarily. And of course, they're the ones that get to decide what's necessary and what's unnecessary. And there's just all kinds of points on here that are ridiculous. The government should reverse I don't know if it says something about the Great British Railways. Is that already something that exists, or is this something that they're trying to form? Because it says the Great British Railways should commit to growing the open access operator market in the UK in line with its intention to foster private sector competition on its railways. So
yeah, that's the Tories renationalizing what Margaret Thatcher.
okay.
So we're going backwards by the bucket load here.
But you just look at like the recent experience of like the Elizabeth line, like this whole new train system that got put in place. It went over budget by what, hundreds of millions. It was delayed by years as well. And it's like, it's just incompetency above incompetency. And they reckon they're going to do this across the country. No way. Like, doing railways is probably one of the most brutal, man laboring, resource draining thing you can do to get travel, when it's much easier, much cheaper, and much more effective to fly.
Yeah, and if you look at their recommendations, I mean, the whole report, it's not just that they they completely lie about the time it takes. It's the way it's presented. So yeah, they have this romanticized, vision of what it's like to take the train. Now, again, I took the journey to Edinburgh. I used to take it on a Saturday morning to run the Ayn Rand meetup there. Take the train back on a Saturday morning. I have my laptop with me. I think, okay, I can work for 4 hours on the way there and 4 hours on the way back. It's crowded. On a Saturday morning, it's loud with young children, and on a Saturday night, it's loud with drunk adults. I didn't find it pleasant, but again, that's a matter of choice. So it is a matter of, if you prefer that, go ahead. But the report doesn't seem to allow for people to actually have a preference one way or the other. I mean, the journey is beautiful, by the way. If you take the train, you have a beautiful scenic route. But yeah, the issue, the point of choice is not something that this movement wants people to have.
Yeah,
I can Google image the view, Prazi. I don't need the train journey.
You can also see it from the plane, by the way.
Exactly right.
And I'm sorry to report, our train actually struck a deer on the way there. So that's one for the environment.
And it's something that will never happen on a plane. No plane, as far as I know, has ever struck a deer.
Well, unless one of Santa's reindeer is floating around.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay, any other points on this topic? Actually, I think well, if anybody else has a point, let me.
Can I just say how much I hate environmentalists? I hate environmentalists. I just said it. Okay, we should move on.
I mean, if you want to elaborate on that, I can look through the report while you do. And
well, I hate them for, I think the reasons probably many of us on this panel feel quite negatively towards them, because they hate humanity and they do everything they can to diminish humanity, and they think the diminishment of humanity is a good thing. The more clearly we can make that point to people out there, that environmentalists are not your friends. They're not even planet friendly, to be honest. They're anti-life. The more you can get that through your head, the less I think of Svengali influence these people will have over others. Even though from cradle to grave, I mean, literally kids are being educated in this environmentalist ideology from the time they're in kindergarten on. It's really hard to extract this crap from them, but if you can pound it in how anti-life these folks are, we might have a fighting chance.
Yeah, they're also fighting for the wrong thing, because the view of nature that they have is actually an artificial view of nature, because even the countryside as we know it is shaped by man. It's agriculture. If you left the British countryside to it, it would be just scrubland and shrubbery and stuff like that. So you wouldn't have the hedges and the meadow of flowers that they want to plant everywhere nowadays. But
and it's also a license. Sorry,
Yeah,
it's also a license for laziness, because people, they stick a sign in their front garden saying, "Our front garden is not messy. We are just rewilding."
Oh my God, that's incredible. Look, I mean, they think that, nature is a great thing to live in, and that humans have to go back to nature in order to live happily. All you have to do is watch an episode of Naked and Afraid to see how hostile nature is, how badly nature treats you, and how grateful you should be for production and for civilization, for city life, for science. All of those things are your friends, and they make a hostile nature benevolent for you. Yes, I want air conditioning. When I was in Paris, it was 92 degrees in Paris, and there wasn't a single fucking air conditioner to be found. What in the hell is wrong with people? Air conditioning is life-saving. It's life-saving.
I love watching Naked and Afraid too. And one thing that show made me grateful for is bug spray. It's one
Yes.
I think about.
You don't think about the worst thing on the planet is these poor people in the Amazon or Belize jungle are covered with mosquito bites. I mean, from head to toe. And just a simple thing like off can keep all of those bugs away. Thank you, science. Thank you, civilization. Nature, tame it. That's the only way it's friendly.
Yep.
And one last point on this report. So, John, you mentioned that they said they want to tackle ghost flights. I mean, it's weird to think that this is, this might be the way environmentalists think about, airlines and people with planes. They just want to, destroy the planet, so they fly planes around empty for no reason. No, if there's a ghost flight, an airline has there's a reason why they do it. They need a plane somewhere, and they can't sell tickets, otherwise they would. So and another point they wanted is to have what is it, a tax, air passenger duty or something on private jets that is 10 times that of business class or first class.
It says specifically here, the government should introduce a new super rate of air passenger duty set at 10 times the current higher rate for all private jet passengers, and apply VAT to every private flight. I'm not sure what that is, but
Value-added tax is like a sales tax. I wonder where they come up with these numbers. It's kind of like when we talk about the minimum wage and people say $15, then why not $1 million an hour? So I don't know where they come up with these numbers, but it's not objective, as is their entire way of thinking. And we will, I'm sure, discuss these people often. Somebody who I admire once told me, stop using the phrase "these people," but I think these people have earned it, so I will use it.
Who told you that? It's totally appropriate with these people.
I don't want to name that person, especially after yesterday's episode was about, why you shouldn't have, share private
Okay.
and so on.
All right, all my fun.
All right, we have a super chat on this question before we move on. Ashley Shrugged says, what about track maintenance? Is that green? The enormous amount of steel or weird and metal required would require lots of dirty pouring of metal. Yes, I mean, Alex Epstein talks, I think it was in the moral case for fossil fuel, about what it takes to actually build a solar panel and a wind turbine, and that's nowhere. That's not something they report on, because it doesn't help the cause. So Okay, next topic. So there was an ad, let me bring this up, an ad for life insurance that ran on Facebook and Instagram. Life insurance because you never know who your doctor might be, and there's a picture of Harold Shipman, serial killer, and they I guess this insurance company thought it was a good idea. What do you
Can
guys think?
please name the insurance company? The name
Uh,
of the name of the insurance company?
What is the name of the insurance company?
Just name it, yes. Because I recall it being quite silly.
Yeah, I saw that too. It's called Dead Happy.
Dead Happy. Okay, if that's the name of your insurance company, do not solicit their business. Dead Happy. Come on.
So it kind of fits with the ad and everything. I'm just like, once I saw the name of the insurance company, I'm like, well, what do you expect?
Yeah. Who's your insurance company? Dead Happy. Wow. Okay. No. Prudential, Farmers. I mean, something like that projects an image of homespun strength or life. Even. I'm sorry I interrupted you, Razi, but I just thought the name of the insurance company was a joke.
No, but actually the fact that the two Americans on this show are objecting to it makes me want to ask the three Brits on the show, is this is this a kind of an example of that sense of humor that this country is so well known for?
I think it is a little bit. There is an irreverent sense of humor. I mean, the most requested song at a funeral is not "The Lord is my shepherd" or "Abide by me." It's always "Look on the Bright Side of Life" by Monty Python. I mean, that's laughing in the face of death in front of all your friends and family at the final moment. So there is a thread that runs through the Brits that wants to do that.
So, I mean, so this is exclusively a British company, only serving British people?
As far as I know, yeah. It's,
All right. I mean, it's incredibly bad taste. It's incredibly bad taste. It's Ricky Gervais-esque, like really pushing the line. I wouldn't do it personally, but I'm sure there's people that found a bit of dark humor in it.
And their logo is a skull as well.
What's that?
Their logo is a skull.
All right. So the whole thing is just satire. It's like a satire even. So, okay.
I think it's like, what's your, like, when you're marketing, who's your avatar? Is there, like, that's the question, right? Who are they marketing to? Would that person find it funny? Or would that person resonate with it? Maybe they missed the mark and have to redo it. That's something the company has to learn, and they'll either be shunned by the population they're trying to attract, or they'll hit big and the marketing worked. I mean, that's the point of marketing, right? There's no such thing as like, when it comes to marketing, there's no rules, there's just conversions. And it's like, is that ad converting for them or is it not?
Would you buy insurance from them?
No, but I didn't even know who that was. Like, when I saw the picture of the guy, I was like, I don't know who this is. It could have been old man Jeff down the road. He's got a bit of a twitch. I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't recognize the image of the face either. I'd heard the name Shipman, but he died back in 2004, so that's already, 20 years ago. But I mean, a lot of the families that were affected by him are probably still alive, so maybe that's what makes it a little bit in bad taste. I mean, couldn't they have just gone with Jack the Ripper or something? No one's alive anymore from his victims, I don't think so.
But he wasn't a doctor. I mean, I guess even without recognizing his face, like because you never know who your doctor is, kind of implies that this is not the person you want as your doctor. Yeah, I mean, I think I agree with Thomas. Like, I think this is they tried something and it got them publicity. Whether anybody reading the articles about them and then finding out about them for the first time actually decided this is who I want to have my life insurance with, I don't know. But I am sympathetic in a sense that, you try different things. ARCUK is still not getting the millions of views that we would like to. We're not going to I think, try that kind of advertisement, but we'll try different things along the road, and some will work better than others.
But now that you guys have tuned me up to the British sense of humor, there's something about it that's not so uninteresting anymore, and not as offensive as I thought it would be. If the serial killer were still alive and somehow profiting from this, and like even reputation or gravitas, that would probably be another thing. But he's not. He's been gone for a long time. Unfortunately, the families of his victims are around to see this. But there is something, darkly satirical about it, that when I'm looking at it from that perspective, it is kind of funny. But maybe I'm just a sick fuck.
Well, then you'd fit well into this country with that sense of humor. Yeah, I mean, I'm also in agreement with John that if I'm the family of the victim, 20 years doesn't make it go away, and
Correct.
I look at that ad and I'm not pleased, and I would not in that case buy life insurance from them. By the way,
all I'm saying is I can see people being offended by it, but
yeah,
and have a problem with it, and I think it should be dealt with then on an individual basis, because apparently about 160 people complained within 24 hours. The ad was only up for 24 hours, I guess, and the company pulled it down. But I don't know. It said that there's an entity that governs the advertising in the UK, a government entity. I can't remember what it's called, but it said that the ad caused widespread offense and unjustified distress. I don't know. That sounds kind of not something I'd want the government to decide specifically, not without taking it to a judge to decide within a context. So I just don't know. It's too one size fits all. Like, oh my gosh, you might offend somebody.
I mean, I have to agree with you. I think this metric of distress as like an indicator that something has to be pulled or canceled, or you can sue somebody for it. I mean, we got where we got today as to an advanced state of civilization by being anti-fragile. I think we have to go back to anti-fragility. This idea that everything not only chafes but harms you permanently because it causes distress is really, really mentally and physically unhealthy, because you only get better by challenging yourself and being in uncomfortable places. And that includes stresses like this, where you have to deal with people who have a different sense of humor than you, a different point of view. Challenge yourself, let be uncomfortable. I mean, as Thomas can say, I mean, working out, you have to get to an uncomfortable place if you're going to grow and change. Not saying that this is necessarily an example of that, but it's time to start throwing off stress is evil, stress is bad, distress is, I mean, come on, man, embrace it, go with it, get bigger, get better, get stronger. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's great. It's a virtue. We need to bring back aspirational living.
It's funny that you say that, because I think it was last summer, there was an ad with like very attractive man, very attractive woman. And it was like a weight loss push, like get ready for Beachbody. Are you Beachbody ready?
That was years ago, but yes, that was
I lost 2 years in COVID. Don't worry about it. Last year was when my life started, but it was, I mean, people lost their mind. They're saying they're distressed. It was fat shaming and all of this kind of craziness. But it's the truth. It's the truth. It's lose weight.
Yeah. So this was an ad of a woman in a bikini that was in the London Underground, on the other side of the platform. So when you stand on a platform, when the train is not there, you see the other side, and there's a big picture of a woman in a bikini, and it says, "Are you Beachbody ready?" And it's for some weight loss supplement or protein powder for women or something like that. And yeah, there were protests at the time, and
She was wearing too many clothes. It was outrageous.
that was a different kind of protest. I don't think that was in the news. But this ad was in the news. That Marco.
we managed to better that one because recently there was a picture of a wedding cake on advertised on the tube, and it was removed. I mean, because promotes unhealthy eating, but the advertising was about a musical, theater musical or something like that, called Tony and Tina's Wedding. So the cake was fairly relevant to the thing, but you know, the mayor of London felt it was promoting unhealthy eating, so removed it. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
what a contradictory message. First of all, Tony and Tina's Wedding is like one of the longest running plays in the history of the world. And on the one hand, they're saying this promotes bad eating habits, but then on the other hand, to critique, say, a body that is where it is because of bad habits is somehow terrible. It's a contradictory message. I mean, if you're going to endorse health, then endorse it all the way through, and that includes bodies that are healthy. Your body may not look like that perfect body up there, but if you're aspiring to it, that's great. That's where you should be heading for your own well-being. It's not about other people looking at you and admiring you. It's about you feeling good, you feeling capable of handling the world that you're in, feeling flexible, feeling strong for you, for where you are. And admire those people that are cut more than you, look better than you. I like that. I admire people who are stronger than me, better than me, smarter than me. I learn from them. I mean, that's in jiu-jitsu. I roll with people who know so much more than me. They kick my ass, but I love it and I learn. Hey, man.
And by the way, this bikini ad, yeah, it was also, this is a mayor of London decision to remove these ads. Now, Transport for London, you know, is not a private company, but yeah, that's what happens when the mayor has such decision-making powers. And I did see an ad recently in some Transport for London. I think it was on the buses or something of with women, you know, not wearing much, but they were large women, and I think that's I guess that was not unacceptable. But yeah, the whole point of that ad is, if this is what you aspire to, consider our protein products, which is why anybody would find that offensive, I don't know, but that is, I guess, the times we live in, which we are trying to change. So if you would like to help us change that, please consider becoming a member or supporting us through super chats, super thanks, and any other way you see fit. And of course, sharing our content. If each person watching this show shares it with only 5,000 of your closest friends, then we will get to our viewership goals pretty much immediately. So please consider doing that. We are coming to the end of 90 minutes of non-stop content, or we had like a minute break in between. And this is now the new normal at ARC UK. But if you are a member of ARC UK at any level, memberships start from £10 a month, then the day is not over. The Fountainhead Book Club is starting in 2 minutes, and yeah, and we have Shoshana Milgram joining us for that. So you can become a member right now, and you will get the Zoom link and be able to join that. We will be back tomorrow with the Daily Objective, with the show that comes after it that doesn't have a name yet, but it does have a title for tomorrow. The title is The Libertarian Alt-Right Pipeline. So that would be the main topic. There will be other topics. I don't remember off the top of my head who will be on that show. I remember actually a few of the, yeah. So Jonathan Honig, I believe, will be on tomorrow. Kirk Wilcox, and let me find, I think Amanda Maxim, and more. So join us for that. Thank you everybody for joining us today, and we will see you in the book club in a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.